Alright, so we talk about hotel facility planning, and this would take in all of 3 credits as far as your subject goes, as far as your Osmania University marking goes. So why are we doing this course? So that you understand about hotel designs. So I want you to understand that once we start on this course, you require to look upon yourself as an entrepreneur or a person who is key to starting with a hotel. So your thought process has to be that way. So you require to understand about hotel design, feasibility studies of planning, calculate areas, estimate water and electrical load, do star classification, or at least understand how the star classification is done, and understand a little bit about project management, which is a very critical part. So we start with unit 1, which is hotel design. It's one of the smaller units, and I plan to finish this within this single presentation. So here we talk about design, and the following slides will elaborate it further. Because there are 7 important design considerations. What are they? That building, as you can see, is the iconic Burj Al Arab in Dubai. It's the the shape of a ship sail. It's the only 7-star hotel in the world. That's what we are going to understand. So the site or location is very important. Then comes the appearance of the hotel, the efficient plan of the hotel. We are talking, when you talk about plan, it is about designing of facility, layout of the place, the structure of it, and so on. Good workmanship, suitable material being used to promote the kind of feel that you wish to do or to be able to do the job. Sound financing is an important part of design consideration, and competent management. So yeah, without money, your moolah, nothing happens. And yes, management is one of the key factors to a good design consideration, because you require to first think of what the operations are before you design a hotel. Next comes site or location. When do you need to decide upon a site or a location? First, when you're starting a new hotel, or you're expanding an existing property, or you're relocating a property. Starting a new hotel, let's say you are a person who has got money on you, or you have investors who are willing to spend, and you have decided to move on to a certain place to start a hotel. So that's a brand new project without uh, any precursors to it. Expansion of existing properties would mean things like Taj. Let us say they already have 100 properties here, and they wish to have the 101st property somewhere else. So that is expansion of existing property. Relocation of property. Sometimes business is not happening properly in a certain place because of whatever reasons. You might have economic slowdown, the particular region might be infested with war, and there might be other problems. So a relocation is sometimes a decision that the management takes to save the hotel from its current problems. We talk about site or location. What are the critical factors affecting site or location? Selection of a region. What do we talk about region? Region would be, we can decide which state to go in if you're talking about India. If you're talking about the world, which country to start your hotel in. Maybe you want to start it, let's say the government of Jharkhand is giving certain promotions, or maybe the government of Telangana is giving certain special offers. So there are different criteria that you have for selection of region. After you have selected a region, you have to decide what the locality is, as in within the region where, and then the selection of actual sites. Here, this is a map of the United Arab Emirates. So that is like the region, and this is your Palm Beach. So this is the Palm Beach Island over here, and this is maybe a close-up of it. So you might decide that this particular site is the site where we want to start on with our hotel property. Of course, this is just an example. So that is the actual site, and before that you had the locality, and before that you had the region. Okay, so locality types could be either urban. You all know what urban is. So urban is to do with, let's say, what is to do with city? It's to do with cities or developed places. And then rural is more like village, unpopulated places where you hardly have many people. Suburban is an area in between. So this picture that you see is there's a lot of high rises over here. It is a picture of Medchal. Medchal was considered a suburb of Secunderabad, Hyderabad. You had more of fields over here, but that is just about 10 years ago. Right now, this is what the suburb looks like. So, usually suburbs are a good choice to start on with a new business, because there are certain advantages that a suburb offers. So we will next talk about what the other factors are as far as deciding which is the locality to be picked up. Factors affecting location: water availability. If there is no groundwater, there requires to be some sort of supply available, so that water, which is something pretty critical, without which no operation of a hotel can happen. Water has to be there, and then you have sufficient vacant land for good strong foundation to happen. Availability of material for operation of hotel. Now, I have particularly come across certain situations wherein people have decided to go in for construction on a certain island which is off the mainland, and because it is so far, things have to be brought in from the mainland, and the cost of construction is easily about 35% higher. So what happens is, once you take a decision, you require to take into consideration the factor also, what about the availability of material, and is it possible to operate the hotel or not. Proximity to markets, obviously that is again to do with the availability of material. If materials are not available, how does one conduct business? Again, one would incur extra costs to get material in place. Commutation and connectivity. So, I'm sure all of us would agree that it's good to have roads connected to the place where we want to do business, or at least waterways or seaways or airways, depending on the kind of luxury that you wish to go in. In any case, if there is no connectivity, how does your guest come in? So, commutation, which is the method of traveling, and connectivity requires to be there so that one can easily start on with their hotel business. And of course, that is the main point for deciding on location. Availability of labor. So, labor is once again easily available in urban areas or even suburban areas. It is difficult to get in rural areas, because even if you get it in rural areas, they tend to be more of unskilled type. The skilled and the semi-skilled, they tend to move on to urban areas. Power availability. How do you love a place which is beautiful? It has got a lot of seaside and tides and open skies. Very nice, good place to start on with your hotel. Have you thought about how are you going to uh, give have the rooms illuminated, have the place heated or air conditioned or whatever? Without electricity, how do you survive? There are people who do that kind of a thing also. They have their own resources that they utilize. For example, you might go into a place in the middle of almost nowhere, somewhere in African jungle or a end of the pole, somewhere where it's difficult to have connectivity. They will have their own power stations built up. There is a market for that kind of location also. But one must carefully understand, analyze, look at the cost implication and see whether it is a feasible plan or not. Because at the end of it, there is a lot of money which is to be spent if you don't have power availability. Capital cost and sourcing, critical location capital. One can very easily look at the correlation. If you have the money for it, you can go in for a, let's say if you have a limited resource and you want to go in for a hotel, maybe you can do it in a suburb or in a rural setting, but the capital cost of an urban setting certainly is very high, and depending on which part of the world you wish to do, it is pretty critical. Sourcing reflects upon what the impact is on your regular business. If it is your own capital or is it borrowed capital, that's what sourcing talks about. So that is water. Without water, difficult to survive. That's power, electricity, and yes, moolah or money. These are what we all depend upon. Again, the natural surroundings become an important thing. Sometimes one would decide upon natural surroundings. Let's say you have a seaside, or you have a riverside, or you have a forest overlooking, or it looks across a valley. So sometimes even the natural surroundings become critical to deciding what your location is going to be. Political factors are important. You don't want to go into a place where you have civil war happening all the time, where there is political instability. As soon as that kind of a thing happens, obviously tourism takes a major beating. Who will come where you have a threat of losing life and limb? A stable government obviously is a precursor to stability of civil life. Subsidies by government. So, like I said, some states they offer subsidies. Even some, business districts of the United Arab Emirates, there are some certain districts which offer subsidies. There are tax holidays. There are discounts on land. For certain sectors, land is provided free, and so on. So it depends, on what the kind of need is. Sometimes you get some very very good subsidies by the government. Historical and religious factors, these also affect the location, because history has got an important part. I mean, if your location could have historical importance, let's say it is somewhere near Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, or maybe close to one of the big time monuments. So that could be a reason for deciding. Now we talk about the appearance. So we look at appearance, that's exterior or interiors or services. These are all part of your attractive appearance. You should have the property is supposed to have the design. For having good design, the property is supposed to have exterior attractive appearance, interior appearance, good service, good quality of food, comfort of accommodation, hospitality facilities and amenities offered to guests. And all of this requires to be at the right price point. That is Atlantis. Palm Atlantis in Dubai. And that is the exterior that we were talking about. You can correlate the exterior to this particular picture. This is one of the interior shots of this particular hotel. So yeah, you can look at the beauty of the interior of probably somewhere in the lobby or a different public area. Exterior. We talk about exterior of the exterior design. What are the elements of exterior that affect designs? First is the entrance and pathways. Then you have the Those are porches. What is a portico or a porch? It is basically the space which is usually outside the hotel, uh, just outside the main entrance of the hotel, wherein cars can arrive, people can get down, luggages can be unloaded, and so on. So typically, a good porch or a portico requires to have at least capacity of 4 cars. From there, of course, the car goes on to the different parking areas. Yeah, landscape design. You could have fountains and gardens and so on. Parking facility. Parking facility is very key to having good business. So therefore, when you talk about exterior, there requires to be sufficient parking facility. In case the hotel is tied up for space, you have option of multi-level parking also. So multi-level parking facility is a current trend. The building design, which is the part of the architecture design and the color combinations. Obviously, these are all part of your exterior design that matters the most. This is Umaid Bhavan Palace in Jodhpur. It's run by the Taj Group of Hotels. So just wanted to show the pathways, the gardens, and yeah, more or less the exterior of the hotel. Interior. Interior talks about the lobby, rooms and accommodation, restaurants, banquets, additional services. All these are part of the interiors which help the guest decide whether they like the place or not. Additional services, it would mean things like spa, gym, florist, shopping arcade, recreation center, business center, and so on. All these which are inside the hotel, they take up a part of the additional services. This is an interior shot of the Conrad at New York. Talking about interior lobby, this is how their lobby looks like. Efficient plan. Efficient plan. The design is critical because why is the efficiency of the plan design plan important? Because you require to utilize space in the maximum, have a sequence of guest flow and staff flow which requires to be maintained, see that regular operational safety aspects are monitored and contingency safety aspects are to be included, utilization of natural resources like sunlight and natural view. So what we're talking about here is space is one of the key factors that you are paying for, and this is what's going to earn you revenue. How your space is utilized is going to earn you revenue. Or one could just by a slightly clever design uh, take out maybe 15% more rooms out of a certain area. A better design could yield 15% more rooms, which means 15% more revenues. So the right utilization of space is something that people require to keep in mind while designing the plan. Sequence of guest flow. Now, what does this mean? So the guest comes in first, and then they check in, they move on to the elevator, they go into rooms, they come down, they go into restaurants, and before they go into the rooms, they might want to freshen up, so they require to be washrooms. So all these obviously they need to be present in a certain sequence. It will be fairly unfair if the wash area or the lifts are pretty far off from the lobby. Let's say how silly would it be if the hotel started off with the restaurant and then you go inside further, you have a lobby, and then you go further inside, you have the kitchen, and then you go inside. So that's a very silly plan that I'm talking about. So we are not looking at the flow of guests and the flow of staff. Obviously the flow of staff and the guests required to be maintained in designing. So you require to plan the design of the hotel based on how the guests are going to flow and how the staff activities are going to flow. Regular and operational safety. Now that means there are certain normal safety norms that require to be kept. Let's say in terms of air conditioning or the temperature requirement, or let's say in terms of security, right? So with increasing terrorist threats, with increasing global terrorist problems, one requires to be very careful in designing how the regular operations are going to be carefully monitored. Of course, now when I say that is an extreme thing. Now, when I say operational safety, when you are designing a simple thing like your kitchen, you require to see to it that there is a proper alleyway. There requires to be a proper 3 feet distance between tables and the ranges where the work is going on. So there is a proper distance maintained between the fire and the people working. So reducing the scope of hazard in normal operations is what we are talking about. That is regular operational safety. Contingency safety aspects means what happens if there is fire? How do people go? Are these signs clear and visible or not? Are the alleyways large enough or not? Are the staircases prominent enough or not? Are they wide enough? Could there be a stampede due to panic? These kind of points are required to be kept in mind while designing the contingency safety aspects. Utilization of natural resources, sunlight, natural view, these are what requires to be done. You'll be surprised to know that the Taj Mumbai, so the Taj Mahal Mumbai, it is the first flagship hotel of the Taj Group. It is located in Colaba, right next to the seaside. So the architect made a blunder. He made the design of the hotel in such a way that the back side of the hotel faces seaside. Poor gentleman, he realized his folly after making the whole project, and it is said that he committed suicide because of that. So yeah, utilization of natural resources. So you have the seaside in front of you, you want to promote it, you don't want to keep it onto the backside of your hotel. Utilization of sunlight. What is sunlight? Sunlight, wherever it is available, it should be utilized so as to reduce your electricity billing unnecessarily. If you record, your illumination cost will go down if you are utilizing sunlight. So that's what we're talking about. Signage for exit. And this is example of a Las Vegas hotel wherein sunlight has been coming. So the design is such that the illumination cost goes. Efficient plan is the design is critical for an efficient plan because the area of provision requires to be built for expansion, increased capacity. But today you are thinking of certain capacity of hotel operations. What happens if there is business tomorrow? It increases. Are you keeping a provision for it? So that's what efficient. That's what we're talking about in terms of provisional expansion. Provision being kept for expansion or increased capacity. Suitable material. Suitable material is one of the key factors for good design. What are the characteristics of suitable material? What are the types? One is construction material, cement, steel, granite, marble, or plant and machinery, generators, boilers, heavy duty kitchen cooling and heating equipment, laundry, spa, operational requirement like consumer durable and consumables. That's what is about. Now, obviously the construction material, the quality has to be such that we'll talk about that in a different slide. Herein we get over here that's an example of a marble which you have decided as a part of your construction material. And this is a boiler which you have decided as a part of your plant and machinery. You know, you're required to have a boiler for steam to be generated for your kitchens and the rooms. All heating activities happen over here. And now we talk about factors affecting suitable material. One is budget constraint. So value for money, objective is why. Why are you using that particular material? Is there any particular reason for it? Uh, is it easily cleanable? What is the life of the product? And does your hotel believe in a go green policy? So you don't want to maybe, you might have wood more easily available, but you do not wish to go 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 against your go green policy. So you would not like to use wood. Maybe you want to use something else. So all of these are reasons. You know, what are your budget constraints, whether you are getting value for money or not, and what is the life of the product that you're going in for, how easy is it to clean it, and so on. Plant and machinery, these are the equipment which needs to be chosen. They require to be, first of all, load competent. Now I cannot have a laundry machine of let's say a 5 kg domestic laundry machine for a hotel. If you know, some kind of a laundry load of maybe 200 to 300 kgs at a time is what I might look at. And I might have three of those machines depending on the size of my hotel and the kind of business that I have. Depending on that, I might have that kind of a same thing. So the load of the equipment has to be competent enough. It has to be robust, as in it requires to have a good life, and yeah, value for money, maintenance friendly. Sometimes you have equipment which is very good, but if people are not there to provide maintenance support to you, then maybe that may not be the best choice at that point in time. Hobart, for example, is an amazing machine with very less of a maintenance issue. By the way, this is a spiral mixer. So now Hobart by itself, it is from Australia, Hobart, and has a very good life. The only thing is it's very expensive. So in terms of value for money, would it uh, okay, can your company afford it? That is something that one needs to look at it. Good workmanship. This is something which is critical for any part of business. So what happens when you have good workmanship? You have better appeal and better guest satisfaction. Think of anything. I mean, what about furniture? If you what if your furniture was not carved properly? Obviously, it's not going to appeal anyone. And then you have reduced maintenance cost and increased life. So that is one of the add-ons that happens when the workmanship is good, that the product's maintenance cost goes down and the life of it increases, reduce domino effect cost. Now, for example, let's say the 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 mason, the person who does the tiling work, he has not done a proper job of the flooring of the third floor, and what happens is, because of this, water seeps down from here and it goes down and spoils all the woodwork of second floor. So that is a part of the domino effect. I mean, one part of masonry work not being done affects something else altogether, which is woodwork, and that could be a greater cost, reduce replacement cost. So obviously, when your when your product is not right, then you know it needs to be replaced. If it is good, then it does not require to be replaced. And sound financing is one of the critical parts of good design. The aspects of it are: what are your sources of fund, what is the allocation of fund, budgeting of finances, expenses and spending, profitability, reserve. Sources of funds could be own or could be loan. Allocation is how much of it are you going to put into which department. Budgeting is what you plan to put in when and what you plan to get out of it. Expenses and spending is scheduling the spend. Profitability is looking at what you plan to earn out of the whole exercise. Reserve funds is what happens if you don't have that particular your projection has gone a little wrong and you require some more money. So reserve fund is something good to have. Surplus funds also are over and above reserve funds. Competent management. Management is nothing but the adhesive or the glue that holds all of these factors together as far as hotel design or any part, any kind of operation is concerned. You have so many factors: management, material, and machinery, and so on. But if you have competent management, it is a glue to all of these things. What are they? Man, machine, money, machinery, and methodology. So if you look at all of these, the glue of all of them is competent management. It deals in organizing departments, managing staff, financial interpretations and control, marketing and sales strategy, guest relations. All of these are a small part of competent management. Resource utilization, management by objectives and management by results. These are two main strategies of management. So all of these are part of a competent management that requires to be the binding glue of all these other factors to make the design effective and at the end of it profitable. Acknowledgement is Mr. R.K. Chatwal. It is his book that I have referred as a prescribed textbook by Osmania University Hotel Facility Planning. I would recommend that you go in through this. It is first chapter that we have gone through and first unit as far as the syllabus is concerned. Thank you.